Last year, Japan was the third largest market for U.S. beef, with our exports to that country valued at nearly $640 million. In the weeks following the deadly earthquake and tsunami, there are many questions centered around the possible increased need for imported meat. Here in the studio with a look at how this natural disaster is affecting beef demand in Japan is Joe Scheule, Communications Director with the U.S. Meat Export Federation. Thanks so much for coming to the show.
Thank you, Kevin.
Joe, well, just give us an update on what you know about the situation in Japan.
Well, we've been in contact with our staff there, and certainly the images you see on television and the rundown of the tsunami damage and the other issues that people are facing there are horrifying. I mean, there's just no question about it. It's a catastrophic situation in that northeastern region of the country, and our hearts and our prayers really go out to those people. It's important, though, when it comes to trade, to take a little step back and realize that that is not representative of the vast majority of the population in Japan. The metropolitan areas, like Tokyo, have been impacted, but not in a catastrophic way. There's been disruption to transportation systems and to power, and certainly they're dealing with a lot of issues there, but certainly not the catastrophic images that you see on TV.
Yeah, it has been devastating. How specifically is it currently impacting beef imports to that country?
Well, we have not seen any sharp drop-off in our export activity to Japan, and really we don't expect to. We think that because the vast majority of the population will return to somewhat close to normal life fairly soon, that demand should maintain fairly well. Now, there has been disruption to, say, restaurant activity. People have been asked to stay home, or they're staying home by choice because they want to watch the news, and so there has been that type of disruption. There's also been some inconveniences at the ports. Sometimes product had to be rerouted to a different port, but we haven't seen major disruptions to the port activity. So we certainly see some interruptions, but nothing that we think will affect long-term demand. And frankly, when there's interruptions, inventories, warehouse inventories, cold storage inventories tend to get depleted, and you'll make that up in the near future.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you that. Obviously, Japan is a huge importer of lots of agricultural products from the United States. What do you envision longer term as we get past the immediacy of this disaster and look over the next 6, 9, 12 months?
Well, right now we're holding our forecast for 2011 steady. We had projected a healthy increase of about 23%, going from $640 million to about $790 million. And right now we're going to hold steady on that. Immediately following the earthquake and the tsunami, there was a tendency to think, well, gee, this market will just be awful for the rest of the year. And that really was an overreaction. And now there's a tendency to think, well, maybe with the damage to their domestic production, with their farms and ranches struggling to recover, maybe there'll be an increased need for U.S. product. We think that it's important to take kind of a balanced outlook. So right now we're holding our export forecast steady for the year. We think demand will remain strong. We think Japan will remain a very, very good market for U.S. beef. But right now we're not making any changes to our original pre-earthquake forecast.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for everything that you do and your team does to expand the global demand for U.S. beef products. We appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
For more information on this disaster relief effort that the USMEF is coordinating on behalf of the meat industry, visit our website at cattlemen2cattlemen.org.